This is so fun being with you ladies today. I've had a blast. I don't know about you all, but I've just had a great time being with you. And I love Mrs. Silva. You all that are in this church, you're very blessed. She's not a good pastor's wife. She's a great pastor's wife, isn't she? Now, let's just be honest. She just seems to have such a balance in her life. It's just a blessing to be around her for me. I mean, I feel like I've known her all these years. We've been here probably 3-4 times, but this time I feel like I've connected with her better and even known her a little bit better. And what I know about her, I love. And I do love this church, though. You ladies are exceptional ladies, and from the bottom of my heart, I thank you, Miss Shalom, for being such a good distributor and helping make sure you ladies sign back up. I checked when I went home this afternoon. I've been at 2 churches that get the magazine, the Christian Womanhood magazine, and I forgot to check before I went, and they expired that month, the very month I was there, and I didn't remind them. And I thought, it's so hard to get you all to sign up if I'm not there, but Miss Shalom, she keeps after you for me, and I appreciate you for that. And when I looked this afternoon, you're all signed up till next year. I thought, they've done it ahead of time, or else our records are wrong, one of the two. But anyway, just to remind you that I am the editor of the Christian Womanhood magazine. I think, is Miss Wallace still here? Is she? There she is. I couldn't find you. I gave her a packet of information about getting the magazine to come to your church for you to distribute to the ladies. So I'd like to give you one too, Mrs. Four, if I can sometime before you get out of here. I'll catch you. But if you are interested in the magazine, make sure and come see me. It is the lifeblood of keeping the Christian Womanhood going, is for people to sign up to get the magazine. That's really how it keeps going. I don't get a salary from it. I thought maybe I would when I started it, but it's not making any money. I got to have so much money in there to print it each month, so I'm not making any money. I haven't got a salary from it, but that's okay. It's a great ministry, because when I can encourage you to not drink coffee. No, I'm kidding. She told me she don't even like coffee. Isn't that awful? How could you not like coffee? I can't comprehend it. But anyway, but if I can encourage ladies to live for God and do right, it's a great ministry. If God wants to use me in that way without getting a salary, that's fine. I get plenty of salary because people do things for me, nice things. This outfit I got on, somebody gave me a $50 Cato. You don't know what Cato is out in California, but it's a neat store on the east, out east, and they give me last December they gave me a $50 gift card for Cato, and I got this outfit there. Pretty snazzy, huh? Been wearing it all year. What I do, because I live in a motorhome, I can only have so many dressy outfits, and so I have like 3 dressy outfits that I wear all year long. If you saw me in Napa, California, you probably saw this outfit, and that's okay. It's okay. So I'm looking for a new outfit for next year. If you see anything you want me to get, let me know. I would like to speak tonight. I know I've changed on poor Mrs. Silva, but she's so nice, I know she won't care. I just felt like I wanted to speak on joy robbers tonight. And when Barb was talking about her testimony, I said, boy, that just flows into what joy robbers is all about, so it's all good. And it's obvious that this is what the Holy Spirit wants us to do. So I'd like to start out showing you this mask, how the Lone Ranger. Now, the Lone Ranger is supposed to be good, but this is supposed to be a robber's mask. And when I first started speaking on this, I kept it on for a while, but people told me it was annoying. You don't have to take my picture. They told me it was annoying, so I don't keep it on, but I wanted you to know that there is somebody that wants to rob you of your joy. It wants to take away your joy. You see this gun? I put this in my carry-on. I put a gun in my carry-on the carry-on was going through the security thing, and all of a sudden I saw the shape of a gun come on that guy's screen. And he looked at me, and people started running, and I said, it's not real, it's a toy, I'm saying, oh man, so I've lost several guns this year to the airport security. But anyway, these are, you can tell by the orange tip that this is a fake gun. That one was green, so it was very obvious to them, but still they got a little excited, a little excited. So I'd like to speak tonight about being a joy robber. Mrs. Evans who is my mentor and teacher, the founder of Christian Womanhood, the magazine that I took over 3 years ago. Her life verse was rejoice in the Lord always, and again I say rejoice. Now let me just say this to you. Rejoicing is a choice. You know, if you're going to go around being a joyful person, it's on purpose. You know, we can find all kinds of reasons to not rejoice, but I want to choose to be a rejoicing Christian. You know, I want to be a person that points people to good things going on and to be a happy person. And you know what? I get up sometimes in the morning and I don't feel happy. I get up sometimes in the morning and I feel like, bleh, you know, I got bad breath, my hair's all messed up, you know, it's just an awful day. But you know what? I have to choose to not stay there. And for all of us, we have to realize that to being a joyful person is a choice. Last year in September, God brought this new rig in our lives. I think my husband might have told this church about it. Did he get to tell the testimony about how it all came about? Well, let me tell you a little abbreviated testimony. For those of you that don't understand our ministry, we have 3 big rigs that drive down the road. One is a brown motorhome that pulls a little 24-foot trailer, 20-foot trailer that Champ lives in, and that was my home for 10 years. I lived in there. Our kids were teenagers when we got that, and so we have had that for a long time. And then we also have a semi truck that pulls a 44-foot carnival trailer, and part of that 20-foot of that carnival trailer is living quarters, and that's where Jeannie lives, and that 24-foot, that 20-some section of the carnival trailer, and then the rest of it has all of our inflatables and games and things like that we come and bring to your church to set up. And then Barb and her husband had a truck, just a normal truck, and pull-behind trailer. No, it was a fifth-wheel trailer. And we were feeling like we needed to upgrade some of our equipment. And in September of last year, somebody called and said, Kevin, I have just looked at a Newell coach. Now, we didn't know what Newell was. We don't know name brands, but we have since found out that the Newell brand, they only build them as you order them. And today, if you were to buy a Newell coach, it's $1 million. We can't comprehend that, but... Well, so this man said that he had just bought a house in Branson, Missouri, and he said that this man wanted to sell him that Newell coach, which was 20 years old. It was still worth $150,000, but he wanted to sell it to this man for $50,000. He said, I don't need it, but he said, you need it. And I thought, we need a new coach? I didn't know we needed a new coach, but Kevin thought we should go look at it. So Labor Day, we went over and looked at it, and we took all kinds of pictures and came back and showed the kids, and all that. And lo and behold, that man did not live in Branson, Missouri. He lived in Rogers, Arkansas. Mrs. Silva, do you know where our next meeting was going to be? Our next revival was in Rogers, Arkansas, where that man lived. It seemed the providence of God. Between Labor Day Monday and Friday, when we actually met with that man, a lady called us and said, I'm going to loan you the money. If you decide to buy that coach, she said, I'm going to loan you the money at 3% interest. So we didn't have to go through a bank if we wanted to buy it. Then another man called us and said, you probably are going to need some kind of a down payment, so I'm going to give you $5,000 for a down payment. Then another man says, you know what, until you get it paid off, I'm going to give you $500 to help with your payment. The payment was going to be about $800. So all this happened within a week in Labor Day. And then we met with the man. The man said, I'll give you the same deal I offered the other guy, $50,000. And Kevin said, well, we don't need to. He was even going to offer to float the loan for us for 3% interest. He was going to offer to do that, but we'd rather take it from a friend that we knew. And so we did it. Well, can I say this? As of right now, the loan for that rig is completely paid off. The lady completely just said, forget it, it's all yours just a few months ago. So we paid maybe $8,000 for it of money so God gave us that coach, and it's nice. On the inside, it's got real tall ceilings, There's lots of good things about it. There's one bad thing about it. You want to know what it is? It's got twin beds. Like, Laura and Rob on that show. I can't remember what the name of it is, but anyway, it's got twin beds, and so every night my husband and I have to. We bought one of the first things we did, go out and buy a big piece of plywood so we can move those beds together each night. So I have to climb in. Now I'm 58, and I'm hoping by the time I'm 70 we can do something different, because I can see me climbing into the edge of the bed, every night. But that's it's a beautiful coach. But do you know what? We got it in September. When we were, this year in January, the refrigerator in it went out. You know what? I could have just said, no refrigerator. And it took us a couple weeks to find one, because it was just this size of refrigerator. And it was just, and I thought, I got this new, and it's hard when something goes wrong with something that's so wonderful and so new and so great and all. But you know what? I had to choose to rejoice. And such is the case in all of our lives. But I believe that there's something that robs us of our joy. Number one, the first thing that I think robs us of our joy is guilt from not keeping your priorities. Yes, Barb and I, we talk a lot about making her feel like you don't have to do anything for Roundup Ministries, you just take care of your kids. Now, I do have lots of things that she has to do for Roundup Ministries, and she helps with Christian Womanhood a lot. But can I say this? We only have our children for a certain period of time. How many of you here, and you have children at home right now? Let me see your hands. God bless you. I don't miss that time of my life. It's so time consuming. No matter what age they are, it's so time consuming. But can I say this? Keeping your priorities, it makes you a better person. It makes you a happy person. You just feel joyful all the time, because I know I'm doing right. Colossians 1:10-11 says, that ye might walk worthy of the Lord unto all pleasing, being fruitful in every good work, and increasing in the knowledge of God, strengthened with all might, according to his glorious power, unto all patience and long-suffering with joyfulness. Say, with joyfulness. So we can be strengthened and have joy in our life by keeping our priorities. One of the priorities is, look, your children interpret your love by your fun. They don't interpret your love by that clean toilet. Now, I like a clean toilet. I'm not a messy housekeeper, and if you have dirty dirt in your house, shame on you. I'm not advocating being a slob in your house. But I am saying this, children love to have fun. And you need to have fun in your home. It needs to not, you can't just say, it'll just happen. It doesn't just happen. It's got to be planned. That's why they budgeted money in their budget to do something fun as a family. And I really believe in my family's life that my husband is the inspirer of fun. You might say, Loretta, you're so fun. But I'm fun when I'm around you. But with them kids, I just want to get the work done and get this done so I can go to bed and forget them. That's how I felt. How many give me a witness? Amen? Amen. But my husband, I remember one time we took a trip. We were living, we had just moved from the camp. And so we had this little rundown trailer that mice were living in. And we were, we'd go out to a meeting and come back. And we had just traveled so many hours, and we came back, and I started to unload the truck so that we could get finished, and all of a sudden he started playing a football game out there with the kids. And I'm standing at the door thinking, we could be done in 30 minutes if you wouldn't have started playing that football game. How many of you are with me on that? It's just like, wow. But you know what? My kids are better off because they had a fun dad. Now, I had to make myself have fun. I remember many, many times jumping up and running out and taking them to the park. I didn't want to have to stop working, because I've always worked at home. I've always had plenty to do for my husband and for our ministry. But I had to stop what I was doing and say, hey, they are a priority. This is important. The theme for the February issue of the magazine is love, laughter, and lipstick. And we got 10 ideas throughout the whole magazine of fun things that you can do that doesn't cost much for your family. And some of the most unique ideas I've ever heard, and I'm really excited about the issue of the magazine. But what I'm saying to you is this, fun is important. And if you are not a fun mother, shame on you. And you know what? If you're not a fun mother, you know what will happen? It's going to rob you of your joy, because you're going to feel guilty every time you look at those kids. And just making it a priority, making sure that they do have fun. I know we were traveling from Corpus Christi, Texas to El Paso, Texas. If you don't know Texas, it's a long state, just something like California. You know how long California is? So we left from Corpus Christi and we were driving through, and my daughter-in-law, Katie, is the app queen. Do you know what an app queen is? She does everything about app, and she has a Sonic app. Sonic is the fast food. I think y'all have them in California. And it flashed her that day and said, it flashed her, oh no. You know what I mean, don't you? The app told her something, it said, oh, hamburgers, buy one, get one free. And then KW, when he was driving, he saw that this Sonic had a playland. And we got this little 3-year-old, and we thought, it was a long day driving. We had driven like 10 hours already, and we had 10 hours more to go to get over to El Paso. And so when she said, buy one, get one free, we usually eat in the motorhome while we're traveling, but I said, we can eat that meal later. Let's stop and get that. So all the adults got together and said, yeah, this would be fun. It'd be so great for little Kevin to get out and play in the playland. So it takes a lot of work to have fun, though. Do you know that? It took all of us working together to work this out. So we pull off the exit, and KW's really good with Google Maps. Seeing what's all around. And we saw that Sonic didn't have any parking for 3 big rigs. So we did see a motel, so we pull into the motel parking lot. I run into the front desk and say, can we park here so my grandson can play in the playland? And, I'm just talking so positively, they're not going to say no to me. And so they let us pull those rigs in. We walked a block over to the Sonic, walked in there, and the playland was like it was awful, wasn't it, girls? Playland. It's all we heard. We ate our hamburgers just barely, like they saw. They didn't enjoy them at all. So KW gets on the phone, his Google Maps, and he found a park that wasn't too far away. So we took the 3 rigs and went through this park, and we let him go out and play on the playground for 30 minutes. That's not easy. But you know what? I want little Kevin to look back at traveling as fun. I have no doubt that the reason why I still have 3 kids traveling on the road in evangelism with us is because it was fun. It's a lot of work, but I think they've enjoyed it. I think that we made it a priority. We did fun things. We usually, every time we come to Pismo Beach area, we always go ride the sand dunes and carry on a little bit over there. We just try to have fun. I'm just telling you got to have fun. Can I show you this? This is not that important. It's not that important. It is urgent, but it's not important. It'll ring, and you could be talking to your kids, and it'll ring, and you want, I got to take care of this, and I got to take care of this, and I get this text, can I say this? Shame on you if you're the kind of person that if I don't answer your text right away, you get feeling, she don't care about me. I'm not bored. You used to not have to answer the phone because you didn't know who was calling. Now we got caller ID all over the place, so you can't say I didn't know you called because you did know you called, So it makes it kind of hard, but this is urgent, but it's not important. I see women out with their husbands, and they're sitting flipping through their phone. I think, he's sitting right across from you. 20 years ago, you'd love to just sit and stare at him and go, Isn't that the truth? Isn't that how we are? I remember I was with Mrs. Evans one time. We were out doing something, and she said, Loretta, she said, look over there at that couple. And I looked over at him, and this woman was sitting there just adoring this man. It kind of made you sick. You know how that is. Hanging on every word. She said, that's how we should be doing when we're with our husbands. It was very convicting to me. Your husband should be a priority to you. And if he's not, it takes away your joy. One of the things that I tease Jeannie May so much about with this boy is when they're talking on the phone, I've been with them a lot. I'm their chaperone. It's not any fun. Sometimes I put my music in my ear so I don't have to listen to all the conversation because it's so ooey gooey, gitchy gooey, Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, you're so handsome. And I'm like, yuck. And so, look at Jeannie. It is. But can I say that I say it's icky, but that's really what I'm supposed to be doing to my husband. I've tried to get with the program since I've been around her so much. I think I've been a more exciting wife since I've been around her, and you can tell I'm extra joyful because of it, can't you? That's what, when we don't keep our priorities, it really affects our joy. It takes away our joy. When I was first married, I'm going to tell you something. When we don't make our husbands our first priority, and one of the ways we can make him our priority is by making his way our way. Okay? When I married Kevin Walker, I'm supposed to take on what he is. He's not supposed to change for me. I think I'm supposed to change for him. Well, when I first got married to him, you learn all these things about these men when you first get married, and you know what story I'm going to tell. These girls are smiling already. Well, I grew up kind of poor, and so we always bought just the store brand ketchup. Anybody with me on that? You just, whatever's on sale or the store brand ketchup, you buy that. Well, my husband, on the other hand, grew up with a mother that's a professional cook. She can cook anything, and he knows what tastes are. Like he can take a bite of something and say, this has got such and such spice in it. And I thought, I didn't even know what that was until I put it in there. It's just, he's just that kind of a person. And so he told me, gave me the orders. When we first got married, he said, now, I only want Heinz or Hunt's ketchup in here. And I said, yes, sir. I was trying to be a good wife. Yes, sir, yes, sir. Well, it got low, and my budget was low for groceries. So I went to the store and I said, I wonder. Walked up and down the ketchup aisle. Should I or shouldn't I? Will he be able to tell? Will he not be able to tell? And the will not won, and I bought the store brand ketchup. And I took it home and I squeezed it into the Heinz ketchup bottle. This is true. When I'm lying, I'll let you know. So we were living in this little downstairs apartment, and he was still in college, and I fixed hamburgers at night, and he sat down to eat the hamburgers, and he took a bite, and I'm trying not to stare. You know how that is? When you do something to somebody, you don't want to stare because you want them to know you're watching to get the reaction. So I just started eating my hamburger, and all of a sudden he took a bite out, and he went like that. Now all of us, even today, he still does. Like, what's in that, And so he went like that, and I said, is there something wrong? He says, and he picked up the ketchup, and he looked at the expiration date on it. He said, is this expired? This ketchup expired? I thought, I didn't even know things had an expiration date when I was growing up. I grew up in West Virginia. I didn't know that things expired. I mean, we just made do, whatever it was. We kept as long as it looked good, if it turned dark or had green stuff growing on it, we might have thrown it out. But so anyway, so he looked at the expiration date and he said, it's not expired, but it just don't taste right. And he looked at me and he says, and by this time I guess I had the look on my face like I've been got, So I said, oh, and he said, what did you do? I said, I put the store brand ketchup in the Heinz bottle. He said, Loretta, I told you, and I said, I was trying to save you money. They don't really appreciate you saving them money, do they? No. They want this brand of ketchup. Now, if you look at my refrigerator today, it's Heinz or Hunt's ketchup. Only. I learned my lesson, but back then it was just fun. Now, can I say this? If I do not make his way my way, it robs me of my joy. Makes me feel guilty. I walk around kind of low, feeling bad, like, what did I do? Why didn't I do right? Revelation 2:4 says, nevertheless, I have somewhat against thee because thou hast left thy first love. Now, I know that's not talking about your husband, but you know what? We have our first love. All of you that are married, you got this wonderful man at home. Now, you say you don't live with him, Loretta. You don't know. You know what? If he is stuck by you, he's a wonderful man, because you ain't a Christmas package, Let's be honest. No, I'm kidding. but what I'm saying is this. All of us, if we have a man that doesn't drink or chew or go with the girls that do, it's pretty good. We got to look at, in everything in my life, when I've had changes come in, I have to keep a list of ongoing positive things about what's going on in my life now. Because I have tendencies to look at the negatives. I was stupid enough, I used to pray for my husband's weaknesses. I had on my prayer list. I had them all listed out. Pray for him. He stops doing that. He stops doing that. Now, I don't know if he had hit my weaknesses on his prayer list, but I hope not. I would have been embarrassed if I saw all my weaknesses listed on his. But it wasn't that silly, because what that made me do is watch for him. I watch for his weaknesses. That's silly. That doesn't give me joy. That doesn't help me to be a better wife. And when I am being a good mom and a good wife, I am a joyful person. I feel really good about myself. The second thing that is a joy robber for us is discouragement. Discouragement. Psalm 119, 164 says, 7 times a day do I praise thee because of thy righteous judgments. Do you get discouraged about things? Do you get discouraged about your hair? Do you get discouraged about your looks? You got a nose, you got pimples, you got whatever it is that it would just discourage you. You got something that you can't fix in your life. That's discouraging. It's hard to live with unsolvable problems. And can I say this? We cannot focus on unsolvable problems. I just talked to a lady the other day whose husband died suddenly in August. And the church, she was a pastor's wife. Now she's not a pastor's wife. When your husband dies and you're a pastor's wife, you lose your husband, you lose your church, you lose your position, you lose so much just in one fatal swoop, and it was a sudden thing, not planned at all, and he hadn't been sick. And so when I was talking to her, and I said to her, you're looking at too many unsolvable problems right now. You can't focus on all those things. It'll discourage you. It'll get you down. It'll affect you. Some of you are living with hard situations. I grew up in a very hard situation. From day to day, I did not know who was going to come in drunk and carry on in our house. I didn't know who was going to do terrible, awful things and talk lewd things in my presence. I didn't know as a child. All those things they just come in on me. I didn't know it. That's a hard thing to live with. But can I tell you something else that can be discouraging is your weight. Your weight. You look at me and you say, oh, Loretta, you're so skinny. I am not a skinny person. I don't look in the mirror and say, oh, ooh la la. You are so skinny. Because I grew up as a fat kid. I was a very heavy set kid. All my life, heavy set. That's what they used to call it back then, heavy set. How many of you are in my era and you remember that, heavy set? And they didn't have chubby clothes, so I had to wear women's clothes, and they had darts, but I didn't have nothing put in the darts. You know what I'm saying by that? It was hard. And so I still look at myself as a heavy person. I will always think of that way. So weight, it's a roller coaster. And depending on what time you are in your cycle, you could weigh 20 pounds more or less. It's really true. I keep trying to lose weight, but it keeps finding me. Are you with me on that? The older you get, the harder it is to lose weight. This is because by this time, your body and your fat are really good friends. That's why you can't lose weight. This is my favorite. I like wearing skirts, not just because I don't wear pants, but it hides a multitude of sin. I got thunder thighs like you, and believe it. I mean, like somebody recently gave me a pair of boots, and my legs are too fat, I can't even zip them up and get them on. Yeah, it's very hard on you. But I always think that if I cut one leg off, I'd lose 50 pounds, I could really lose a lot of weight. So, I got a lot down here. And so I gave up jogging for health reasons. My thighs kept rubbing together and setting my pantyhose on fire. I could get discouraged about my weight, if I let myself. But I'm not going to let anything rob me of my joy. I'm not going to get discouraged. If I look in my closet and I can't find anything to wear, I'll just put a tent on, I'll just wear this tent. Some of you got nice clothes that you look good in. You look good in it. But you say, I wore that last week. Wear it every week. People will feel sorry for you and take up an offering, give you new clothes. That'll work. It really will. I am very blessed because I'm in a different church every week. You don't know what I wore last week. Same thing all the time. It's okay. I only have a few outfits. It works fine. Some of you poor people, you've got to wear the same clothes all the time. And can I say something? When you're in the growing mood, do you know what I mean by growing mood? we can tell that it's growing. And the clothes get smaller and the people get bigger. And that's discouraging when you look in the mirror. You could be picking out an outfit on Sunday morning, and I wore this last week and I don't want to wear it again. And 2 weeks ago I wore this, and 3 weeks ago I wore this. I can put this. So you get out and you put it on and it's too tight. You look in the mirror and say, oh, that's too much, too tight. So then the kid comes in to ask you about cereal, and he just says, Mom, can I get some cereal? Oh, go get it, whatever you want, I don't care. Now, we're not really upset that he came and asked for cereal. We're just upset because we're fat. Isn't that hard on our family when we get so discouraged about our weight? We cannot, some of us get discouraged because our schedule's out of control. Now, let me park there for just a minute. For the last few weeks, it just doesn't seem like we can stop. We haven't had a day off. My son, KW, said to me yesterday, he said, Mom, next week we ought to take a day off. I said, yeah, dream on, brother. And I said, it's not anybody's fault. We're in charge of our own schedule. That's what's so sad about this. We book our meetings. We are in charge of our own schedule. But what I'm saying to you is you feel like life is out of control. And that can be discouraging. Well, what you do is you just stop. When we start feeling frantic, nothing's going to work, everything's bad, that means, you just need a break. Mrs. Evans taught me this many, many years ago. There's 168 hours in a week. Okay, now just think about this, ladies. 168 hours in a week. When God when he created the earth, he worked for how many days? 6 days, and then he rested 1 day. Mrs. Evans really encouraged us. She said, girls, if you really want to keep from getting discouraged, if you want to keep a joyful spirit, she said, have 8 hours of rest a week. You say, how can I get this? You moms of little children, trade off keeping each other's kids so that you can have a break away from them. I think that's one of the hardest things having young children is just you're around them so much. The kid talk gets really old. That baby talk gets really old. You get tired of changing diapers. You just want to break away from them. And she encouraged us to trade off keeping each other's kids. What's 3 kids when you have 2? Just add another kid and to help somebody else out, and then have them do the same for you. Having 8 hours of rest a week. Rest is like sitting down and reading a book. You say, oh, I've not read a book in years. It's good for you to just go away from people. Even if you have to go in the bathroom and lock the door and let the kids keep pounding. Having some time. It's good for you. It'll keep you from getting discouraged. I'm telling you, this could change your life. If you would let it, if you'd really take this to heart. Some of you that find you get in the mully-grubs a lot. Some of you that walk around and you feel depressed. Now, can I say this? Depression is a real thing. I don't make fun of it. I don't live in depression, but I have had friends that really deal with deep-seated depression. And depression could be something like maybe a brain chemical that you don't have enough of. There's a chemical in our brain that's lithium, and you have to have so much of the lithium to keep yourself feeling like everything's okay. The serotonin in your body helps make you feel like it's okay. So maybe there's vitamins that you need to take, St. John's wort, valerian root, those 2 for sure, but there's lots of others. But you know what? Don't live in depression. Find an answer. I live to be a joyful person, and it's on purpose. Being joyful is because I want to portray the love of Christ. I want to show you that God lives in my heart and that he's a great God, that he takes very good care of me. If you have times that you're depressed, that's not bad. I'm not fussing at you about it. It's not that you get down, it's when you stay down. Pull yourself up. Don't be discouraged. If you look in the mirror and you say you're heavy, just put a bigger outfit on. I mean that seriously, because some of us try to put the skinny stuff on and we're still in the medium size, so keep the mediums out, that's good. That's very good for you. And I remember after you have children, things are not the same. That's for sure. Nothing went back to the same place after I had children. Now, some of you, maybe you did, but I didn't. I had extra things in different places, because you gain 60 pounds when you have a kid, and the kid doesn't come out 60 pounds. You know that, right? He only weighed like 8 pounds, 9 pounds. Jeannie was my biggest, 10 pounds, 11 ounces. Can you imagine? Oh, poor girl. But still, that's not 60 pounds, you know what I mean? So you got a little extra padding in lots of places. You can't go back to those clothes. Some of us just need to get rid of those skinny clothes. You know, goodbye, skinny clothes. I'll never wear you again. It's okay. If I do get down skinny, I'll make my husband buy me all new clothes at the thrift store. But anyway, don't stay down. I want you to live the victorious Christian life. I want you to be joyful. And I want you to realize that joy is on purpose. It's not something you do haphazardly. It's you plan it. You say, I'm going to do this. So the first way that I think you can be a joyful person is to keep your priorities. Be a fun mom and be a fun wife. And you women, you know what I mean by that, don't you? And I don't have to go into details with all these other people around here. Be a fun wife. And then for the second thing is don't let yourself get discouraged. Whatever it is that faces you that makes you discouraged, you know, if you can fix it, fix it. You know, if you need a new hairstyle, get a new hairstyle. You know, if you need some new clothes, go up to the thrift store and buy you some new clothes for $0.25. Can you believe this church gives it to us for $0.25? Whatever. You know, I needed a little spizzerinctum yesterday because I was feeling like, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know. So I wore a new outfit last night, a new jacket that somebody had given me. You know, you just do that. Whatever it takes to keep yourself from being discouraged. The third and final way that I think robs us, the final thing that I think robs us of our joy is misunderstandings. Misunderstandings in our life. Micah 7:6. For the son dishonoreth the father, the daughter rises up against her mother. Isn't that a horrible testimony? The son dishonoreth the father, and the daughter rises up against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies are the men of his own home. You know, we have 7 adults right now that are traveling together. Every one of us individual adults have our own opinion about how things should be done. And it'd be very easy for us to have misunderstandings. You understand that, don't you? When I got this new coach in September, it has a washer and dryer in it. It's just an apartment-sized washer and dryer, but it's saved us. Like, I was spending $25 to $30 a week at the laundromat, so it saved us that much money having a laundry. Well, I'm not going to just do my laundry and not let my daughter and my other daughter, Barb has her own little washer and dryer in her motorhome that she just got for Christmas last year. So she's mostly taken care of. So Jeannie shares, and then Katie, and then we all take turns using my washer and dryer. Well, Katie was using my washer and dryer, and her stuff didn't get out the next morning. It was Jeannie's scheduled time to do her washing, and so I texted. Can I say this? I didn't learn much about texting with expression till I went through some stuff where I said things too bluntly. You know, when are you getting your stuff out of the washer today? You know, that was a little too blunt. You know what I mean? If I was talking to somebody, I said, you know, you probably haven't had time yet, but you have any idea when you might be able to? You know, I might have taken a little bit more time to say it, but I just texted Katie and said, when are you getting your stuff out? Jeannie needs to do her laundry today. And Katie hadn't been in the family that long. And can I say this? If you think Katie's bad when I tell this story, you're missing the whole illustration. I'm trying to say to you, misunderstandings happen. I say one thing and she hears another. That happens when you live together in a commune situation like we do. That's going to happen. So I think Katie, when I texted her that, I think she heard, your clothes have been over here long enough. Get them out of here so I have room for Jeannie to get her laundry done. And you know Jeannie's more important than you are because she's my real daughter. You know, they can think things like that. You know that? They can think it. So we were in Phoenix, Arizona, and she comes over and gets her stuff out. And I just happened to come home right when she was exiting the coach. And body language told me that she was upset. And she was dragging her stuff, you know, it's got wheels, her laundry basket had wheels, so she was dragging it around, and all of a sudden I thought, I didn't say that right. What was my first clue? I could tell she was upset. Now, she's not bad that she got upset. And you know what? Anybody in your life, you can have a misunderstanding like this, because you can say it one way and they can hear it another. So when I saw her, I thought, oh, I didn't do something right. So I went over and I put my arm over her, and she was kind of like, leave me alone. She didn't say it, but I could tell she felt that way. And so I said to her, I said, Katie, can you come here and let's talk for a minute? What do you want to talk about? I think I need to explain what's going on and see what happened. And so we walked around the buses in the church parking lot for about 30 minutes, and I said that wrong, didn't I? And, well, you hurt my feeling, and I said, I don't blame you. Now that I think about it, I said it a little too bluntly, and we talked it all out. We have misunderstandings. Barb and I have had lots of misunderstandings because she doesn't know me like Jeannie knows me. Jeannie and I don't have that many misunderstandings because she knows how weird I am. She's lived with me all her life. We do have misunderstandings, though, sometimes. I'll say something a little bit wrong, I'll say it a little too blunt sometimes because I think I can because she's my daughter, but that's not right. I shouldn't think that way. But Barb and I remember there was a time when Barb was going to have her second child. I felt like she had enough on her plate and I needed to take something away from her that she was doing for Christian womanhood. So I talked to her about it, and when I talked to her about it, it's like I was tearing something away from her, and it hurt her, and so we just had to talk a long time, didn't we, Barb? Because she didn't need to feel like I was taking away because she didn't do it right. She didn't need to feel like I was taking away because I didn't think she could do it properly because she has another child. I just wanted to give her an opportunity to be a mom to this second child, and when they're new babies, they're so time consuming, and you're just so tired. But we had a long talk about that. It's important. And can I say this? We're so busy, we don't have time to talk things out anymore. So we find ourselves plagued with misunderstandings between each other. And the misunderstandings is what pulls us down and robs us of our joy. You know what? I want to be a joyful person, and I want to live in harmony with all of my family. But if I'm going to do it, it's going to take talking out misunderstandings. I can remember when my children were young, I think God's got a great sense of humor. Do you know why? Because he gives menopausal women teenage daughters. Don't you think that's true? She's weird. She thinks weird thoughts. She wants to do weird things. And you're weird because your hormones are all messed up, and you're having hot flashes and, all the things that's going on. So it's really, really hard on you. So we have got to control these misunderstandings. We've got to control discouragement in our life, and mostly we've got to keep ourselves from, we got to make sure we're keeping our priorities. If we'll do that, we can be joyful Christians. Open up your Bible to Philippians chapter 4. Philippians chapter 4, verses 4 through 7. Philippians 4, verses 4 through 7. I'll read out loud, you read silently. Philippians 4:4, Mrs. Evans' life verse. I have a radio program every day, Monday through Friday, on Faith Music Radio. It's an internet radio program. It probably airs out here at 2 o'clock because it's 12 o'clock, the normal time over there. But I always close it out with Mrs. Evans' life verse. So that's this verse. Rejoice in the Lord always, and again I say rejoice. Let your moderation be known unto all men. The Lord is at hand. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving let your requests be made known unto God. And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. The end result of joy is peace. You want a peaceful life? I remember as a young child, the reason why I wrote my first book was Possessing Peace, is because I remember looking out a window in my very troubled home and thinking, is there any place where there's peace? I remember thinking that, Miss Judy. I remember looking out the window at the black sky with the stars. I didn't know God then. I knew there was a God, but I didn't know him personally. And I remember thinking, is there anywhere where there's peace? If you find your life is a little bit of havoc, if you find it's a little bit in upheaval all the time, if you wonder about having peace, I think the end result of joy is peace. Being a joyful Christian will give you peace. It's a wonderful life. Let's don't be discouraged. Let's don't have misunderstandings, and if we do, work them out, talk them through. And number 3, if we just keep our priorities, we can be joyful people. Let's do right by the people that we love the most. Father,